Good morning, everybody. How is everybody this Tuesday? I'm Kristy Bailey, and I am so excited to be here with you today. And on this last time that I'll be hosting the Daily Huddle here on Tuesdays with Tara, I picked a topic that is near and dear to my heart. And so I'm going to start off asking you a question, and that is, who are you? Not your job, not your relationship status, not even the roles that you play, but deep down, who are you? This is a biggie for me. I've had a journey here. So I'm not speaking just to women, but I'm gonna read this quote from a gorgeous little book called Untamed by Glennon Doyle. She says in it, ask a woman who she is, and she'll tell you who she loves, who she serves, and what she does. I am a mother, a wife, a sister, a friend, a career woman. The fact that we define ourselves by our roles is what keeps the world spinning. It's also what makes us untethered and afraid. So the question for the day is, could knowing who you are be the secret to thriving in your life, your business, and love? So like I said, I've had a unique journey through this, and so let's have some fun. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my process. So if you take the word identity, it really is the unique set of characteristics that can be used to identify a person as themselves and no one else. So society encourages us to define ourselves by what we do or what we achieve. But shift that perspective. What if who we are drives what we do rather than the other way around? So before we can take our identity and use it to, as like a compass that guides us through life, first we've got to uncover what that identity is. So you can't live in alignment with your identity if you don't know who that identity is. And so clarity about who you are isn't just a nice to have, it is the foundation of every decision, habit, and relationship that follows. So let's talk about getting to know ourselves. Aristotle said, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Take that in. That is a big statement. I think that one really hits me. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. So I'm going to share with you a story. I'm going to be very vulnerable here. I'm going to tell you a story about that isn't me at my finest moment, but it is really kind of the start of me answering this question, who are you? So ever since I was a little girl, all I ever wanted to be was a wife and a mother. So I was raised in the Mormon religion, so that's probably a little bit of it, right? Culturally, that was part of the culture is that women were mothers and stayed home, just part of the culture. But a lot of it just was me. It's just intrinsically what I've always wanted to do. So I consider myself one of the lucky people that actually got to live out their childhood dream. So I got married. I was married for 25 years and I was a stay-at-home mom for about 18 of those years. Now, before I had my first son, I was managing the sales training department for a Fortune 500 company. I was on the path in succession planning. I'd been kind of named as the next logical director of training for this huge site. I was on my path and I loved it. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. So had my son, quit working, and did the whole stay-at-home mom thing for the next 18 years. And I loved it. There were days where it's like, why am I doing this? But for the most part, I really, truly loved that life. Well, that life couldn't last forever. First of all, my kids got older. But by the time they were in high school, I got divorced. So after 18 years almost of being a stay-at-home mom, I found myself having to go get a job. Now, you talk about, blowing your mind. That is a really long time to be without, work and then get back into the workforce. So I couldn't walk back into the kind of job that I had. It had been way too long. The world had changed. I'd changed. Technology had changed. And so what did I do? I do what everybody does. I go into real estate. So I became a realtor. Now, the first year I had some success and kind of figured it out. And I joined a coaching program that was meant to take me to that kind of next level, in my business. Little did I know it would take me to my next level in life. So here's what happened. So this program, like I said, it was about like maybe a 6-month program. And day one, I had already planned a trip that I couldn't get out of. And there were two other women in this program that couldn't make it on that first day as well. So the coach, Doug, I called him Dapper Doug because he always wore little pocket squares. Doug met with the three of us. He said, well, I'll meet separately with the three of you guys and catch you up on what you missed. So this was a very intimate small group, and Doug said, I want to go around and I want each of you to tell me, what do you want to get out of this program? Now, before I tell you my answer, I've got to go back and give you some very personal information, so you bear with me here. When I got divorced, like I said, I had been out of the workforce for 18 years. And so there was alimony was part of my divorce settlement. But the way we structured my alimony, I told you I'm going to be very vulnerable here, was such that if or the more money that I made, the less alimony I would get. Now, where I was in all of this, if I made more money, my alimony would decrease. So it was a net zero for me. Everything would stay the same. But my ex-husband, and let's be real, his girlfriend, would get more money for me working more. And so that was kind of messing with my mind. So you have to understand that before you hear what came out of my mouth when Doug said, Kristy, what do you want to get out of this coaching program? I can't believe I said these words to him, but these are actually the words I said. I said, yeah, can I convince myself that I need to take care of myself? I really said that. And I will never forget Doug's response to this. He very kindly and warmly, but with eyes like just boring into my soul, said, of course you can. You've convinced yourself that you don't have to take care of yourself. I mean, it still gets me in the gut when I think of those words, because I was the woman that for 25 years took care of everybody. How could I be the woman who didn't know I could take care of myself? I realized in that moment I had a lot of work to do on me. And I had to get back to who the heck am I? So that took a lot of work. And I feel pretty good these days that I know who I am. I feel pretty confident in that. But it took some time. It did not happen overnight. And it doesn't happen by just osmosis. I don't know. Maybe some people are lucky and osmosis just works for them for everything. For me, I find I need to actually do something. I've got to do the work. And so I'm going to share with you the process that really kind of has led me to the place where I am now, where I feel pretty comfortable in my own skin. So I'm a list maker. So I'm going to give you three lists and then one kind of bonus thing here. So here are my three lists. The first list is, what activities do you love doing? Don't limit yourself to it has to be career or family or whatever. It's anything. So on my list, it was all kinds of things like travel, playing tennis, hosting parties, teaching, encouraging people. Like, so it was all kinds of things. So you sit down with pen and paper and say, what do I love doing? Work, play, all of it. Just doesn't matter. Don't judge it, right? Just what do I feel good when I do? What do I love doing? Your next list is, what am I good at doing? You might have some overlap there, right? I'm assuming you'll have some overlap, but you also might, well, for sure, you're going to come up with things that you didn't even think of on the things that you love doing, but there are going to be things that you are good doing it. What are you good at? What are your talents? What am I good at doing? The third list is, what outcomes am I passionate about? You can think big picture, like I'm passionate about world peace. I'm passionate about helping others succeed. I'm passionate about being a good mother. I'm passionate about helping people build their wealth through real estate. What outcomes? What do I want to see in the world? What do I want to see in my community? What do I want to see in my own home, in my own family, in my own relationships? What outcomes am I passionate about? So those three lists, what do I love doing? What am I good at doing? And what am I passionate about? I can promise you there are some connections, some threads that are going to tie a little bit of this together. You're going to start to see a pattern. So I kind of played with this. I did this probably about 10 years ago. I think it's probably been that long when I did this. And the thing that I came up with, like, okay, what's the common thread? I love to host parties. I like to sell. I don't know what are the common threads. And I decided I'm really passionate about creating experiences. Like even now, my outcome is I want you to leave here feeling good. That's an experience I want to create. That jazzes me up, right? So that's an outcome I'm passionate about. So I was able to kind of take and find, ooh, it's all about experiences. And that was my first round of figuring out who I am. Ooh, I'm somebody who really loves to create good experiences. Now, a few years later, I kind of morphed this over the years because I keep doing work and I keep digging deeper and deeper. And I also kind of found out about myself that I'm a little selfish. Not only do I want to create good experiences for others, it's important for me to have good experiences. The travel, right? I do that only because I love to. It feeds my soul. It's part of who I am. I like to go to restaurants and experience different foods because I like those experiences. And so I morphed my I'm somebody who, like, a big part of me is that I want to create good experiences for people. And I realized I want to have those experiences too. So I've taken all of this work and I've put it into one statement for me that is my guiding light. I know I'm living authentically to me, to my life, when I am living in alignment with this statement. Kristy, I am here to live a life full of joy and passion and to inspire and empower others to do the same. So that's not all of me, but that's a big part of me, who I am at my core. And when I'm in situations where I'm not in alignment with that, I'm not living joyfully, passionately, I'm not inspiring and empowering other people, I know I'm out of alignment with my identity. So those are my three lists. Now there's a bonus one, and I think some really interesting things could come from this. I did an exercise like this. I don't know if anybody follows Mike Dooley. He has some awesome stuff. And I did a writer's workshop through him online. And he did an exercise where he had you just write like a letter to yourself from God. And it was fascinating what poured out. Like just start writing like your God talking to you. So here's my list, or here's my last little bonus piece after you do your three lists. Do some writing where if your creator or whatever you believe in came to you and said, "This is who I created you to be," what would your creator say? It's fascinating to get yourself out of your own mindset of this is who I think I am and say, but if God, my creator, whatever I believe in, came to me and said, this is who you are, what would this be? How are we doing so far? Questions? We like this exercise?
Yes, so much good stuff here. So how much time did you spend coming up with that statement?
Oh, you know what? That one came pretty easily because I lived with my purpose is, to create experiences for quite a while. And then, oh, what's his name? There's an author building a story brand. Anybody know who I'm talking about?
Donald Miller. Yeah.
Donald Miller. Donald Miller rocked it during the lockdown during COVID. He did something I will always be grateful for. He had this whole day, like whole day thing where he took you through kind of the story of your life and how do you figure out your vision, your mission, your values, all of that stuff. And in one day, I was able, because I'd done all this pre-work before, I was like, oh, here's because he said, write a statement for your life, like write this mission, that if you can sum it all up. And that literally did come to me in that one day. And this was, how many years ago was this? 5 years ago. It's absolutely true. I've never had to change it. So whatever you do, don't feel like you have to be married to it forever, because we're growing, we're evolving, and
Right.
sometimes we can't see ourselves. We can't see it all, right?
How did this translate into you learning to, I think, as you put it, love yourself
Oh,
or think for yourself?
it's it's foundational because you can't love yourself unless you can really see yourself for who you are, right? You really have to, before you can truly love yourself, have to know yourself. So I think for me, maybe I'm different, but everything comes in bits and pieces for me.
Mhm.
I wish there was some, downloaded, you have all the information, but it's all a process for me. So yeah, it's foundational, I think, Tara. I love that question.
Yeah, cool.
Maria, what would you like to say?
Okay, thank you. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, yeah,
Oh, great. Okay, so thank you so much for this conversation.
yeah,
And I find that knowing who I am gives clarity. And I really want that also for everyone. So thank you so much for sharing all of this. I'm like hanging on to every word you're saying.
oh, I love that. I love your word clarity, Maria, because that is the word, because when we understand who we are, it gives clarity to everything else, our business, our work, our relationships, right? Yeah, I love
Yes,
that. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for that.
thank you.
Of course. All right. A couple of other little bonus exercises. This one is from the Big Leap. It's called the Peak Experience exercise. So think about three peak moments in your life when you felt truly alive. So, what do those moments reveal about who you are at your core? So, think about those three peak experiences when you really felt alive. I love that word, because so many times, we can go through and it's like, man, am I really alive? Am I really living? So, when you're truly alive, that must be when you're really in alignment with yourself. So, what can you gain from paying attention to that? And then kind of similar to my exercise of if your creator came to you and said, "This is who I created you to be," just do some journaling, set a timer. Magic will happen if you force yourself. Set a timer for 5 minutes. And even if you have no idea where you're going to start, just write down, who am I? Timer for 5 minutes and let it flow. There's going to be some magic in there. I truly believe Marianne Williamson says what we put on the altar becomes altered. So if you put it out there and say, I truly, Dapper Doug told me this, any question that we truly have, if we actually ask in earnest, we seek for answers, they'll be revealed to us. Now, it may not be on our timetable. That's what I've learned about all of this. It's never on my timetable. My timetable is right now, damn it. And the world doesn't work that way sometimes. But anything that we truly ask in earnest, it will be given to us. All right, so let's talk about, let's go back to this clarity. I love
You
this.
have a question from Gio. I don't know if
Oh,
you
Gio, I'm sorry, I
saw
didn't see
that.
that. Sorry, Gio. Yeah, Gio, go for it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Love the inquiry. What a wonderful inquiry. I wanted you to say a little bit more about this letter from your creator to you. I think that's a wonderful way to break all paradigms of
Yeah.
who I am or who I could be or what I think I know, what I think I don't know. How what has been your experience in doing the letter yourself, but also what has been your experience in seeing others do that letter for themselves? Anything you want to say about that?
Well, I love what you said. That gave me goosebumps. That's like my little barometer. Like, ooh, that's something really good, right? Gave me goosebumps when you said that's a something that you can use in so many ways. So if you are stuck with a dilemma or you've got a challenging situation, I use that like so. I fight. This is so funny for me. I'm a writer and I fight journaling. I don't know what my problem is where I just have to make myself journal. It's kind of a fun way to journal. And so I'll do that every once in a while. And I will start it with Dear Kristy. And then what's amazing is that it puts you, I think it just puts your brain probably in a different place. And you're just accessing, something that you don't have access to without maybe like some divine guidance. And it really is just interesting what comes into focus because I've had that experience where I'll do that and it's like, oh, I certainly didn't have that answer in me, but just because again, what's asked for, we're given. And so I love your point, Gio, of taking it and using it for I've got this problem. All right, rather than me trying to figure it out, my best friend is famous for saying, Kristy, you don't have to figure out anything. Because I just keep thinking, well, my brain just has to have all the answers. My brain does not have all the answers. And so if you just say, you know what, I'm just going to have God write me a letter and you just start writing, interesting things come out. Ideas that you didn't have access to will pour onto the page. So love that idea.
Yeah, it's opening that up for me as this kind of possibility of uh, I like to disabuse myself from the world, from my subjective conclusions of the experience of being human.
Oh, I love
Uh,
that.
so I don't like so much navigating the world of anything's possible, or there is a universal truth that speaks to you. I don't navigate in that world. Not that it's not true, not that it's not valid. I try not to
Yeah.
as my personality thing or whatever.
Okay.
However, you do open something up, I think, really powerful for me today which is allowing myself to come to talk to myself from a place of from a wisdom that I have within myself
Ah, yes. Yes.
about what is possible.
Yes.
And it could be connected to a higher source for all I know. I don't know anything, right? But I do see that in those little moments, those peak moments that you're talking about, when I sort of surrender to something else, is at the moments when I feel the most alive, when I
Love.
don't have to know, when I
Yeah.
don't have to figure something out, when I'm just surrendering to that present moment.
Yes.
And so I'm gonna take on this whole writing a letter to myself, and from the creator, right? And see what shows up. So I wanted to thank you for this wonderful exercise.
Oh, thank you. I want to, I just, you said so much amazing stuff in there. You're spot on with the wisdom is inside ourselves. So just without getting too personal on my own spiritual things, but I don't believe in a man rolling around in the clouds, pulling the strings for us. I don't believe in that. It is accessing the wisdom that is inside of me, but I just don't have access to it sometimes unless I approach it in a different way. So love that. I thank you for all your statements there. Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Kristy. Very generous. And
Yeah.
I see Sorel's hand up also, by the way.
Oh, thank you, Sorrel. Thanks. Go for it.
Good morning, Kristy. I just wanted to say thank you for giving me the freedom to not have to know who I am. Because that's what I'm kind of getting out of what you're saying. It's like, could the access to being everything I want in life, knowing myself, and then you said something, like you said, who I am is blah, blah, blah. And I got in that, oh, maybe I've been saying who I am all along and believing it. So what if I could say something else?
Ah, love that.
And then the something else I say, I just give myself the permission to surrender to my own say as the wisdom inside of me, right?
Oh, love that.
So perhaps I don't ever get to know who I am.
There's some freedom
I
in
get to say who I
that.
am, you know?
You
So
bring
it
up,
leaves me really free.
yeah.
Because for the most time, for me, when I ask the question who I am, it is connected to where I'm from. I'm from Haiti. It is connected to my upbringing and the way I grew up. It was rough. I was poor, and I have to struggle. I have to work hard, right?
Yeah.
And then there was all of that. But I now realize that I've been saying all of that, and I can practice saying something else.
Oh, I love that. You bring up such a good point. It's just as important to recognize when we're saying who we are, like, is that statement true? Right? Like, so think about all the ways that the things that we think we are, like, let's put that to the test and say, is that true? Can I even know it's true? Who would I be without that thought? Anybody know where I'm going with this? This is the work by Byron Katie. It's just a way to examine our thoughts. Is it true? Can I even know it's true? Who would I be without that thought? Right? And is there another possibility? So I love that. Yeah. And the other thing that you said, Sorrel, is this is, I think, all about that word that you said, freedom. And I think that's probably where I'm going to end today, is when we get to this whole freedom part. So let's talk. I love this. We spent most of our time talking about how to understand ourselves. To thrive, then we've got to put it into use. And so, just very quickly, I want to just give you one. I'm going to give you one little tip here on putting it all into use, and that is the way that we build habits. So, if you think about, I'm going to take the way that we normally operate. We say, well, I want this outcome. So for me, it was like writing a book. I want to write a book. So oftentimes we just get stuck there, right? So picture three circles. There's a circle, inside a circle, inside a circle. So the outer circle is what my outcome is. I want to write a book. Now, oftentimes we'll get to that next part, the inner circle, which is I need to do the activities to write the book. So oftentimes we can figure out, I want to write the book. I'm going to get into the actions. But here's where the magic is. So this is from James Clear, Atomic Habits. The inner circle is our identity. I want to write a book. I write every day. I'm a writer. That's how we're going to harness. We're going to take that identity and go from the inside out. I'm a writer. I write every day. I publish a book. Normally we go from the outside in. We've got to start from the inside and go out. So that's how I wrote my book. I played around with it for 2 years. I read this book and I thought, I can't say I'm a writer. That's not my identity. Like Sorrel said, I just started playing with it. I tried it on. I'm a writer. Well, what do writers do? They write every day. And guess who finished their book like that? Because I changed my identity. So we want to put those, get those habits built by figuring out who we are. All right, so that is all the time we have. I hope that sounds like we've had some awarenesses here of creative ways that we can really get in touch with who we are. So I am going to, for the last time, talk about the daily tenets or daily huddle tenets. So we'll tie it into identity love. When you root yourself in love, you stop needing to earn your worth because you remember it was never lost. Give. The fastest way to discover who you are is to give without performing, just from a place of truth. Laugh. Laughter helps you remember that the real you isn't heavy or hard to love. It's already whole and human. Stress less. When you're grounded in who you are, you don't have to chase every problem. You choose what deserves your energy. Eat more plants because nourishing your body is an act of identity. You're someone who honors themselves from the inside out. Move your body. Movement anchors you in the present and reminds you that becoming starts with being. Get enough sleep because you can't know yourself if you're running on fumes. Rest is where clarity and identity reconnect. And check yourself before you wreck yourself. I just like saying that one. So I hope that this has been helpful. Any last final words before we say goodbye?
That was magical. You're a flipping
Oh,
guru.
oh, you're so sweet.
I love it. How do we continue following you and connecting with you?
My website is divorce. I'm putting it in the chat. divorceupside.com. And here, I'll just give you my personal email as well. Just for you. There you go. Just for all y'all. Loved, really appreciated being on this. Just what a group of high-minded, lovely people. Tara, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity and introducing me to all your lovely friends and family here on the Daily Huddle. So thank you so much. Appreciate you guys.
We love you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Forever family.
Thank you.